welcome back to the Plunder Den. In this week's episode, we're going to be adding some light effects to a sloop. So I kind of decided to do this project. I've been wanting to actually build one of the new sloops that came in the 2-player starter set that I got when I did that unboxing, and I kind of showed all the stuff in there. And I've been building and painting the pirates and adding it to ships that I already have. But I haven't really got around to doing a sloop, and a lot of people have already posted fantastic pictures of a lot of amazing sloops out there. But I kind of wanted to do something different. I'm like, well, how could I do this project differently than what's been done before? And I pretty well actually I have. I built all the line of Firelock Games ships, and most of them I've done 2 of them, and I've done all sorts of paint schemes, and I really couldn't really decide whether I want to do something different. So then I came up with the idea, and I've been kind of playing with light effects for a while. I added it to, the seawall and some of my other projects, and I thought, could I do a ship that was in the, in the night, and you can only see lamp lit parts of the ship, and I thought, well, maybe I could do something like that, a paint scheme. So really, this is taking my skill levels in light effects really to the max here to try to get this project done. But I was committed to doing it. It was something completely different, and I'm going to carry it right up into the sails and everything. So this is going to be a 2-parter, kind of series here. The first part will dedicate on the base of the ship, and I added 2 components: actual practical light effects with tea lights, and actual paint scheme to make it look like it has light effects. So even when the lights are on, it looks like it's got light effects, and when the lights are off. So I kind of went at it at both angles, and we're going to cover that in this episode. In the second episode, I'm going to go. I'm going to make like a crew for the ship. And the sails, the flag, and I'm going to kind of add a lamp up at the top there and add more light effects into that as well, and kind of complete the whole project into which I'm really excited to see the end result. So that's pretty much it. Let me take a look. Let me show you what we've got going on here. So this is the finished base, and I don't know if you can see in there. Maybe I can get it. Yeah, you can see right there. I got the tea lights running on the bottom here. And really I just kind of used some magnets and got to connect on the bottom here. We'll cover that in this episode. And then how I painted it to give it this kind of like glow. I added this lantern. This doesn't come with the kit. I built one of these in the episode and show you how to build these. And I built a second one that I'm going to put up top here in where the flag is and such. So and then of course you got the lantern that comes with the ship on the back. So you got a couple different light sources. I decided to keep the door open, opposed to a lot of them I've seen. Well, I've seen everybody's ship has it closed. And there's stuff in the interior, so I kind of decorated the whole thing. Did another paint scheme inside there. We're going to cover all that in this episode. So a lot of different things in here, a lot of detail on just the base of the ship. And then, like I said, the second half will do the top part. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. You know what? Maybe I haven't really did a good job of kind of showing the whole thing. Maybe just give it a good pass around the whole ship here. Adding different areas. Darker down below, obviously, lit up from the lantern on top. And all sorts of different things that we did here to create this effect. Okay. So before we get down there, I know this is kind of a longer intro, but I wanted to talk about the Summer Plunder. Actually, when this episode airs, it probably will be running already. I'm filming it a couple days before actually it starts. But I just want to remind everybody to get playing in the Summer Plunder. And remember, make sure you play for the English faction. So I'm the second mate this year in the English faction. And hoping to see everybody come out again and lead England to another victory, back-to-back victories here. So we got that going on. Now, Firelock Games is actually having a promo attached to that, 20% off sale till June 13th. So this is a good opportunity to flush out those armies, add some things, or get involved in Blood and Plunder for the very first time. Or maybe you want to get involved in Blood and Valor or Blood and Steel or War Stories. They have other games that are available that you can get discounts on right now, and they have all sorts of cool stuff coming up that you can get some discounts on. So I suggest get down to the Firelock Game Store and check that out and get some savings. Now, and the other thing is I don't have the results yet because as of filming this, I haven't got the results of who won the Flash Challenge for the terrain challenge that we were doing. But it's been up for a couple of weeks on the Blood Pigment page for people to vote. So hopefully by the next episode, when we do the second half of the ship, I'll have the results. But I'm sure the Blood and Pigment page will have posted the winners. And you'll know long before that. But I'll still go over it on the next episode just to kind of show everybody off all the different, the ones that were submitted. They were all fantastic. Everybody did a great job and they look great. All right, so that's pretty much it. I know I covered like a million different things, but let's get down to the table and let's start painting, crafting. We'll do some light effects. All right. Okay, I figured I'd start off with just a picture of the ship I'm about to build. This is the Sloop from the 2-player starter set from Blood and Plunder and made by Firelock Games. So we're just going to do not too much of a building tutorial on here. I'm just showing you that I have to build the interior before I put the ship together. Just because once you close everything up, you can't get back in there. And I decided early on that I wanted to put a lot of details inside there. Even though you're only going to be able to see a glimpse of it, I did plan on leaving the door open to get into this cabin. I started early on deciding that I wanted to put light effects inside there. Originally I was just going to do was paint, but I knew it wasn't going to be too dark. So that's just some black miniature paint, and I plan on covering everything with black paint. Now, normally I would use black craft paint, but because it's a plastic model, sadly my miniature paints are not a good undertone, so I decided to use miniature paint, which has a flat finish. So then I decided I wanted to put a tea light in there, and I used that, I'm just showing you that Husky screwdriver there, to drill a hole kind of in the bottom of my boat. The same size as, I did actually use a small sanding tool to fit the bulb of the tea light in there. So I kind of stripped it all down. I hot glued the end of it. That way you can engage the light when it's underneath the ship here. So I used 2 jewelry magnets and put them in a little bit of insulation foam, hot glued it on there. And really the magnets hook onto the battery it's in the tea light. It's a big round battery. And this is an easy way to just have your tea light connected on there. I plan on covering that foam with some black paint, craft paint there. But I wanted to show you it worked out pretty good. It doesn't look like pretty bright right now, but once you put the roof on and everything, it'll actually really brighten up that room. So this, I'm just showing you that I'm going to use some black craft paint just to cover that foam area around the magnets. So then I got some real brown. I decided to use it in some of the decks on the inside, just a little bit, but I originally started with the black miniature paint. And then I'm going to use oak brown for the details on the inside. So I'm just going to give you a brief outline of how I start my painting when I'm doing light effects. Really just kind of adding the brown where I think the light's going to hit, because I want it to be lighter than the black that's around it, so if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to kind of add layers of colors in here, wherever I think the light's going to hit. Now that thing in the middle that's right by the hole, that's supposed to be a lantern that I built. It's actually just out of some balsa wood and some leftover sprues from a ship that I had from Firelock Games. And I made that little lantern. So I kind of wanted to show you a little bit more of the painting technique that I use in this video, more so than I would do in the past. So we got some fur brown and the real brown there. And actually, that's bark brown. That was the other lighter color. So I'm going to add that on there. I'm using the fur brown on the inside, so I'm using the miniature paints where I'm doing more of the details on the inside of the ship. And then the just some of the craft paints on the outside. But I kind of did a little bit of a combination of everything, just wherever I wanted to light it. You can see that fur brown is pretty light, but it's a good base for the lighting that we plan on doing in there. So you can see I'm starting to hit the edges. Just remember that one spot in the middle, kind of where the hole is where that lantern is. And I drilled the hole behind the lantern, so you can't directly see the tea light when you're looking inside. So then we go to the Pablo, and this really is a color that really starts adding those light effects to everything. It's a real good base for all the other colors you're going to put on top. So I'm really starting to highlight things now. You can see that I'm adding some bright orange colors. And if you look at the way light goes out, the orange color would be at the far end of the light. And then the brightest would be more of a yellow, almost up to a white, right in the center of the lamp. So I'm just showing you more of, you can see I spread that Pablo right out the door, making it look like the light is escaping outside the doorway. And I like that effect. It came out good. So now I'm just kind of adding all those colors to the inside. Now this is all going to be on the inside of the ship. So I'm kind of like painting the inside of the cabin right now. So I just added some metallics. I'm just going to paint the cannonballs here, some of the tools that are sitting on that little table, a little bit of the lantern, and just kind of lightly add these metallic colors to it. Mainly because they would still show, with the lights shining on it, they would still show. You can still see the metallic colors as well. So I'm just showing a little bit of that. You can see I just, barely touch it, just a little bit with my brush, just to put a hint of that metallic color on it. Oh, I forgot the the brackets on the barrel too. Put a little bit on the grid. Anywhere I think a little bit of metallic would go. I just used some Agrax Earth Shader to darken up some of the metallics there. I didn't mention, but some of the details in there, the cannons really came from the kit itself. The barrel and the cannonballs, that actually came from the box of Plunder. And then everything else is from that Mantic kit I got from Adepticon. So now I'm going to move to adding some shadows. So we got some Graveyard Gray and some Grim Black. And we're going to start with the gray and then go darker with the black. And really, we're just trying to do the extreme end. And I know that some people had asked, why did I put so many details on here? It's just going to be covered anyways. It's just so when you have the light tea light going on inside, it really adds to the details that are inside already. So even if you can see only a glimpse of things in the corner, it'll all be painted and look like it should from the light source that's there. Now, of course, there'll be some natural shadowing because there is actually a real tea light in there, but it'll be enhanced by the colors that I'm adding in there. So it's not so dark in the room. I didn't want to have a black room and then run the tea light in there. I actually wanted to add the light effects and then add the tea light in just to enhance those. So this is this fire lizard that I've been using, which is a really good in between yellow and orange. Great next color to put down. I did use a little bit of lava orange and then that dynamic yellow to really brighten things up. So we're going to start with that fire lizard. This is a good color by Army Painter. Nice and bright. But like I said, it's a good yellow-orange kind of thing. Next step up from the Pablo that we put down already. So this color would be closer to the lamp. As it fades away, it becomes orange. But this is the next closest color to the lamp. And then, of course, the yellow will be right next to the lamp. So we're just going to add some of that on there. Now I go back and kind of blend them in together. I like doing this while everything's semi still wet. I don't let usually things dry. I kind of just keep putting the colors on because sometimes you want to go back and add things, and you can see I really added a lot of yellow in there. Now that sand golem is a speed paint, and it's kind of a yellowy orange speed paint. And I actually found it good to, actually, it's kind of like a wet blend. Really, you put it over top of the colors that you've already mixed, and it kind of merges them together. And I just wanted to show you what the end result was. So it came out really good. I was really happy with this interior, and really will help enhance the tea light when it's in there. And it's all painted, so the interior is all completed as well. So I'm just showing you all the pieces there. That's the, I guess, essentially the ceiling of the cabin. And then I kind of painted the inside walls, which are also in that cabin. That's what I'm kind of showing you here. And these are all the different components. So that's after it's all done. That's the back of the cabin. So that whole room is now painted, all the sections when we glue it together. So we're going to use a rubber band technique, and that's the best way to glue this ship together. You can see I put the gun ports on, and really this isn't a building tutorial, but I just kind of want to mention that. And you can see the tea light in there. Really happy with all the light effects inside there. I'm just showing you the bottom. I just kind of colored the bottom so it doesn't look bright white, but nobody's going to see that anyways. This is on the bottom of the ship. So it was a little tricky gluing it together, but the elastic band did help hold it all together. So now I'm just going to go to a matte black by Army Painter and paint the whole ship. Again, I just wanted to show you the light effects, the tea light inside. So this is after I've completely covered the entire ship in matte black. So I added this little piece of balsa wood on the top here because I plan on putting a lantern on there. So that one lamp comes with the ship, and then I made 2 more lamps. And I just used, it's just a coffee stir stick. That's a bit of balsa wood, and that little tab on the top, there's actually little sprues left over from the model kits that I got from Firelock Games from the other ships. And I use it as a good lantern cap. I got a whole bunch of them from all the punching them all out, the pieces. So I added the anchor on, just kind of adding some of the details as I go, painting them with that same matte black from Army Painter. And now we're going to move to some of the, I want to paint the lamps essentially. So same colors I did the interior with. You got your Pablo, you got your Fire Lizard, you got the Dynamic Yellow. I think that one's a Basilic Yellow. Sand Golem is a speed paint to mix it all together. And that's the end result. So normally I would color the grid in it, and I end up doing some of the framing with black paint. But I didn't decide to put kind of like a window design on it. I kind of want it to look like it's kind of open, and maybe that would make the lamp brighter. And you can see how I did it that way. So then I decided to add the swivel guns on because I wanted to add light effects to the swivel guns as well. At this point, I wasn't deciding, if I'm going to add cannons or not. And I do plan on, in the second video, you can show you that I'm using that lamp. I'm going to put at the top of that mast and light up the top of the sails and add some more light effects to the sails themselves. So going back to some more metallics here, and I'm just going to add it to the swivel guns. So I just kind of stopped here to show you how I usually do it. I just add a little bit to my brush, kind of wipe it out on the paper towel there just so it's not too bright, and kind of just brush it on. And hit all the swivel guns. I ended up hitting the lamp too, the top of the lamp's metallic, the end of where the rudder is. Just added some metallic colors. Now you're going to be able to see more of the metallic on the top of the ship than you would on the bottom of the ship, so I didn't bother doing the hinges on the bottom of the boat where the rudder is, mainly because that would be really dark in the light, in essentially the light scheme that we're putting together here. So then I'm starting with the real brown, and I'm just going to actually add more of it in the areas where the light's going to hit, and less of it, kind of keep more of the black or darker brown where the light's going to be less. It's a smaller ship, so you got light from the door it's open. You got a big lamp at the front and a big lamp at the back. So there isn't a whole lot of areas that aren't going to be touched by light. Now those grids, I do plan on adding light on them as well, because there would be light down below the deck coming up. So again, I'm going to spend some more time showing you the technique of adding the colors, because I don't usually spend a lot of time showing the actual painting techniques. So there's more of that in this video. I just wanted you to see how I apply the paint. And it's kind of, I've sped up the camera a bit here, but really I just spent a lot of time going over these areas. If I don't think there's enough brown, I'll go back to it. I ended up cracking out the bigger brush, and I did do a pass around the bottom of the boat too, because I decided I wanted a little bit of brown and not it to be solid black on the bottom. So you can see this I've hit somewhere. You can see how I did it brighter on the figurehead, everywhere where I thought the light would be. So then Agrax Earth Shader, hit all the metallics again before I get too far along with the highlights. So then we're going to go with Fur Brown again, and we're going to start doing the exact same thing we did on the inside of the boat. We're going to do on the outside of the boat. We're going to start adding the foundations of those light effects. You can see that this is quite a bit brighter, and it kind of, is a good base for the lighter colors that we're going to put on top. Now, if you ever kind of stumped on where the light would hit, I sometimes just use like a large tea light, like the one you would put in a pumpkin. They're really huge. And I kind of just turn it on above the ship, and I kind of just see where the shadows go. So I'm kind of implying that would be the light from the lantern, just to kind of give me some reference of where the light would hit. Just a kind of a trick that I use to help myself. And again, I'm not super expert at this, but I'm getting better at it, I think. Enough that I figured I could try this. So you can see I put a lot of that fur brown almost all around the whole ship. It's darker kind of in the center where the least amount of light is. So then we're going to go to the old Pablo there and start brightening things up pretty good right now. Starting to lay those foundations. So you can see the lamp is on the top of that plank there. So it definitely is higher up. So it hit a lot of different areas. Not so much down below the lamp because there's things in its way. But definitely in front of it. It's higher than the figurehead, so it would shine down on the figurehead and through some of the spacings on the front of the boat. So I wanted to capture all that. So there's a lot to consider when you're kind of, but just do one step at a time, add one color at a time. You could always go back and readjust or repaint, or if you want to, you can start over and put some black paint over top of it and start over in a certain area. I've had a few areas where I figured I put too much color, and I went back, added black, and did it over again. But just hitting all the areas I believe would be hit with that lamp. And same thing, went to the back, did the same process. So this is after I've added all the Pablo. You can see I've kind of hit it on all sorts of places, on the swivel guns, on the rudder, kind of all the different areas I would hit. So I'm going to that fire lizard again, that intermediate between yellow and orange. Like you could just have a yellow and an orange and mix all these colors. I'm just being kind of lazy. And it has some pre-mixed ones for me already. And then just go from one color to the next color to the next color. But you could just mix these, and just by adding more yellow, you get different variations of an orange yellow, and you can get the same effect. It's just a little bit more work, that's all. And I've done it in the past before because I didn't have as many colors as I did before. Now I have so many colors that I actually have intermediate yellows and oranges here, which made this process slightly easier because I had these colors. But that fire lizard is awesome. That's a great color. So now we're moving to the yellow, and you can see I've already hit the those screens that are for the decks down below. Really brighten them up with the fire lizard. And now I'm moving into that dynamic yellow. And we're going to start hitting not as much, you can see, just on the edges of things, because it's the brightest point. It's where the light hits first, and then it kind of bleeds off from there. So you got to consider that when you're painting light effects like this. The brightest spot is where the light hits first, and then it gets darker as it gets away from that spot. So dark that where the light doesn't hit at all, it's actually almost black, right? Now there's a little light coming through there because the gun ports are open, and there would be light shining through those gun ports, so I wanted to count for that light as well. So this is after I've added all the yellow, and things are working out pretty good. Now you can see that the ship kind of bends in a little bit. That's why you would see light on the side of the boat, and because that lamp is higher than the boat. So now we're going to add that sand golem again. So I got some on a little bit on the brush, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's a good, and it goes on shiny, but it dries matte, so don't worry about it being too shiny. But it's good to, like I want to make the glow around the edges of these grids, and this is perfect. This speed paint is awesome for this. Like I said, I'm really into using speed paints for weathering and for shading, and not necessarily for covering miniatures. I have used them for miniatures, and they're great. Especially if you just want to put a lay down of color on a pair of pants and then highlight it afterwards. Speed paints are awesome for that. But they're also awesome for this. So then we're going to go to a really bright yellow called Moon Dust. And that's just almost kind of like a white yellow. And we got Dark Wood, Grim Black, and then I grabbed this Hardened Leather. And they're all speed paints, and I'm going to use them for the shadowing by the gun ports and on the bottom. But I started off with that Moon Dust, and you can see it really, really takes it over the top and makes it super bright at center. So you want to hit the lamps too, right in the center. I didn't add that originally when I painted the lamps, but I went back and added it in there because it really gives it that almost like a real good glow coming out of there. So it's just constant oranges and yellows, bright to dark, and the contrast between the two really sells that light effect. So then all the areas where there's shadows or the light wouldn't be hit by the lamp down below, I started adding those 3 other darker speed paints on the edge here, and that's where I'm making my shadows. Also, the shadows created by the gun port door open, shadows that are down on the front by the figurehead. So a lot of areas that I want to do. So this is the end result. I'm really happy how this turned out. And better than I thought it would, actually. It turned out really good. All right, let's take a quick look at them. I got some flickering tea lights here. I just wanted to show you the interior cabin. Of course, the main goal was to make this look, lit up on a regular table, but it looks really cool at night with the tea lights on too as well. And really happy with this. In the next episode, I will be painting a crew with light effects too. These are just a regular painted crew, but in the next one, we're going to do some light effects on a crew that I'm going to design just for this ship itself. All right, so that's pretty much it for this first part. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one.